I secured a $2 billion project, and my CEO, Fiancée, credited her white moonlight for the achievement, and she expects me to be that white moonlight's assistant? What's the matter, unwilling? Do you know that scowling like that is making Dylan unhappy? I demand that you drop to your knees and apologize to Dylan right now. Don't make things difficult for me. I looked around. The company's executives all looked at me with schadenfreude. I stood up, slowly lit a cigarette, and scoffed. Make things difficult? Then don't do it. I grabbed the table with both hands and flipped it over in one motion. At the evening's celebration banquet, the president of the Taylor Group, my fiancée Sophia, along with her recently returned white moonlight, sat at the head table. She stood up holding a watch worth $500,000. This time our Taylor Group securing the $2 billion Northtown project is entirely thanks to Dylan Parker. I hereby announce that the position of vice president of the group will be held by Dylan. This watch is a gift presented to Dylan in addition to the bonus. After speaking, she personally put the watch on Dylan's wrist. The whole room involuntarily fell into astonishment. Everyone knew that this $2 billion project was won after I worked overtime for a month and drank until my stomach bled. And Dylan was merely my assistant. And now Sophia actually gave all the credit to Dylan alone? But the company's senior executives present had weathered the ups and downs of the business world for years and were all shrewd. The shock lasted only a few seconds before they recovered. They all raised their glasses to congratulate Dylan. Their gazes at me were full of contempt and ridicule. Mr. Dylan is really young and accomplished. Less than 3 months at the company, and he's already landed such a huge deal. Exactly, Mr. Dylan truly lives up to being an overseas returned elite. He has a boundless future. Please continue to look after us in the future, Mr. Dylan. For a moment, the private room buzzed with unusually lively energy. Dylan, full of vigor, raised his glass to each person one by one. From time to time, he shot me a challenging glance. Sophia laughed and teased aloud. Oh, come on, don't all crowd around Dylan. Give Taylor Group CEO a chance to express her thanks too, won't you? Couldn't those old foxes see the tenderness in Sophia's eyes? They clamored that the two should do a ceremonial cup exchange to show sincerity. Sophia fidgeted a bit and stole a few glances at me. Seeing that I showed no reaction, a trace of annoyance flashed in his eyes. Amid everyone's repeated cheering, the two drank the nuptial cup wine together. Dylan took the initiative to wrap his arm around Sophia's slender waist. Their eyes met and lingered, full of tender affection. The whole room immediately broke into enthusiastic applause. Everyone's gazes involuntarily turned to look at me. There was a hint of contempt and schadenfreude in each pair of eyes. Ethan, Sophia put down her wine glass, as if only then remembering me, her fiancé. She curved her lips slightly, speaking as if it were only natural. Your professional skills aren't as good as Dylan's, but they're still decent. All right then, starting tomorrow, be Dylan's assistant and support him properly. Seeing I still didn't react, my would-be brother-in-law Leo Taylor, head of logistics, wasn't happy. He slammed the table hard and shouted angrily, Ethan, who are you trying to look like you're dead for? If it wasn't for my Taylor family taking you in during these 3 years, you had amnesia. Who knows which trash bin you'd be scavenging food from? What a disgraceful thing. Sophia's expression grew even darker. What's the matter, you unwilling? You've been wearing that sour face since you walked in. Do you know you're making Dylan unhappy like this? I'm demanding that you kneel down and apologize to Dylan right now. It wasn't until this moment that I finally came to my senses from the days of having just been transported into a book. I had actually become an amnesiac supporting male. The original owner was called Ethan Johnson. He was the president and largest shareholder of Johnson Group, the leading enterprise in Haven City. 3 years ago, because the private plane malfunctioned, I had to parachute out. Although I survived, I lost my memory. I wandered aimlessly. I happened to come across Sophia Street racing in the suburbs, and she got into a serious car accident. The vehicle caught fire, and Sophia was trapped inside. In the end, I risked my life to rescue Sophia. the minute after she was rescued. The sports car exploded violently. Sophia, upon learning that I had lost my memory, brought me back to the Taylor household to express her gratitude, because my pendant has the letters E and J engraved on it. So the Taylor family has been calling me Ethan. I stayed at the Taylor household for a while. At that time, the Taylors were in big trouble. The group's business had dropped sharply and was on the verge of bankruptcy. Sophia was eating poorly and sleeping poorly every day, busy to the point of being overwhelmed. As the female lead in the book, Sophia is naturally breathtakingly beautiful. Her figure is also sexy and sizzling. The more time we spent together, the more fondness I developed, although I lost a lot of memories. But my business talents and innate keenness for commerce did not disappear along with them. I secretly stayed up late and, after helping Sophia revise several business proposals, the Taylor family began to stop their decline. The situation gradually improved. The Taylor family unexpectedly discovered that it was all my doing. They were even more delighted, as if they had found a priceless treasure. Old man Arthur Taylor of the Taylor family wanted to bind me completely to the Taylors. I abandoned the idea of helping me recover my true identity. The old man used his connections to get me new identification, and he wanted me to marry into the Taylor family, to be a lifelong beast of burden for the Taylors. I may be a business magnate, but I'm also a complete, utter simp. These 3 years, I've devoted myself to gaining Sophia's favor, serving the Taylor family with utter dedication and wholehearted effort. Under my leadership, Taylor Group has developed rapidly over the past 3 years. From an unremarkable small company, it quickly grew into the now famous Taylor Group in Rivertown. This time Sophia agreed that as long as I secured this $2 billion deal, she would promote me to group vice president. And the two of them would immediately get married. To secure this goal, I worked late and overtime for more than a month. I drank with the client until my stomach bled before finally signing the contract. Unexpectedly, Sophia gave all the credit to her beloved Dylan. My 3 years of selfless dedication and patient endurance. In return, I received the Taylor family's blatant betrayal and contempt. No one in the Taylor family thinks highly of me. In the book, this simp, actually still had hopes for Sophia. In the end, Dylan pretended to be ill. Under Sophia's PUA manipulation, I agreed to donate a kidney to save her white moonlight. In the end, I died miserably on the operating table. Thinking of that, I flew into a rage. The original owner is a simp. I am not. Still want to dig out my kidney? Let's see if the Taylor family can withstand my fury. Sophia, seeing my sullen expression, grew even angrier. Ethan, are you even listening? I want you to kneel down and apologize to Dylan right now. Don't make things difficult for me. I stood up and looked around. All the company's executives looked at me with schadenfreude. I slowly lit a cigarette and sneered. Hard to handle, then don't handle it. I grabbed the table with both hands and flipped it over in one motion. With a crackling clatter, drinks and dishes flew everywhere. The scene immediately became a mess. Broken shards of porcelain and glass, soup and alcohol were scattered all around. There was a stain on Sophia's snow-white skirt. The seafood soup was splashed all over her hair. Everyone in the room, except for the few of us, including me, was not spared. She looked utterly disheveled. The entire private room fell into a deathly silence. Everyone was stunned by my insane action. Sophia came to her senses and was instantly furious. Ethan, are you crazy? After a brief moment of bewilderment, a flash of ecstatic joy quickly appeared in Dylan's eyes. He tugged at Sophia's sleeve in a wrong, pitiful way. Sophia, it's all my fault. I shouldn't have won this project. Ethan must be jealous. Sophia, why don't we just give the credit for this project to Ethan? It doesn't matter what I do. Sophia was heartbroken and immediately took his hand to comfort him. Dylan, you're so kind. How could it be your fault? It's all Ethan being petty. I really went easy on him. She turned her head to look at me, her expression dark and gloomy. Ethan, kneel down and apologize to Dylan right now, or don't expect me to forgive you. Leo had just cleaned the caviar off his face. A vein twitched on his forehead as he grabbed the wine bottle and lunged toward me, charging angrily. Ethan, you good for nothing. You fucking looking for death. Ha! Before I transmigrated into this book, I was the national sauna champion. Although the original owner was a bootlicker, he had been pampered for years and was in excellent physical condition. Someone as puny as Leo still dares to come near. With a thud, the wine bottle struck my arm and shattered instantly. Wine and glass shards sprayed everywhere. One by one, the executives cried out and quickly backed away. A flash of excitement crossed my eyes as I raised my hand and clamped down hard on Leo's throat. I shoved him down to the ground. I grabbed an empty wine bottle and brought it down on his head. Bang! The glass shards exploded again. Leo's screams echoed throughout the entire private room. Blood gushed from his forehead. The Taylor family young master, who had been arrogant and overbearing just moments ago, now was rolling on the ground moaning like a dead dog. My head. Sophia, save me. I want him dead. Leo clapped his hands over his head and screamed, his eyes full of venomous hatred. The entire hall fell into a deathly silence. Everyone was stunned by the bloody scene before them. The executives who had been gloating turned pale one by one. Several female executives screamed in terror one after another. Sophia was completely stunned. She never would have expected that I, who always took things lying down, would suddenly lash out and hurt someone. Ethan, how dare you? She screamed and rushed at me. I raised my hand and slapped her across the face. The loud smack echoed through the private room. Sophia's head was knocked to one side by my strike. The whole audience was stunned again. Is this still the sycophant who used to fawn over Sophia? For the first time, panic and confusion appeared in Sophia's eyes. She covered her swollen, reddened cheek, staring at me in disbelief, her voice trembling. You! How dare you hit me? I slapped the other side of his face again. Sophia, if I hadn't saved you back then, you'd damn well be 6 feet under. These past 3 years I've poured my heart out to you, taking care of you in every possible way. Even more, you brought your Taylor family small, nearly bankrupt business to its current scale. I kicked her in the knee. Her legs went weak and she dropped to her knees. But how could you do this to me? You treat me like a dog. Come when called, dismissed at will. I worked my ass off to land you that $2 billion project. You turn around and give all the credit to your white moonlight, Dylan. You actually, in front of me, drank the nuptial cup with that pretty boy. I slapped her hard across the face again. Where's your face? Sophia is the illustrious president of Taylor Group. And now she was kneeling, being slapped by me, someone she had always looked down on. She instantly felt unbearably humiliated. She struggled for a long time without getting up, shouting sharply. Ethan, are you insane? Forgetting the facts. Weren't all of these things your own, doing to please me? You love me so much. Isn't it just because I and Dylan drank the nuptial cup just now, and it made you jealous? Can't you be a bit more magnanimous? Heh. No wonder this is women's fiction. Her top-tier women's fiction rhetoric made me laugh in anger. Magnanimous? I crouched down and pinched her fair chin. Then now you're kneeling in front of me to be punished. Or you could be magnanimous too and act like nothing happened. Just then, I keenly felt a gust of wind rushing toward me. I instinctively dodged. My right leg shot out, striking the other's abdomen straight on. With a thud, Dylan, who had just been holding a bottle and tried to ambush me, was kicked flying by my foot. He slammed hard against the wall, slid down the wall. Damn it, that conniving green tea still dares to ambush me. I rushed forward, grabbed his head, and smashed it against the wall again and again. In the female-oriented world, reason simply can't prevail. Only physical means will do. Seeing Dylan being beaten, Sophia was furious. Ethan, stop right now. You can hit me, and I won't hold it against you. But how dare you lay a hand on Dylan? I will make you pay. Call the police. Hurry, call the police. I'm going to make him, Ethan, rot in jail. Those stunned executives finally reacted one by one. Hurriedly, she grabbed her phone to call the police. I was stunned for a moment. There are actually police in the female-centric world? Miscalculation. After I recovered, I leaned close to Dylan and whispered just one sentence in his ear. His expression suddenly changed drastically. He shouted anxiously, "No, no, no. Don't call the police. Hang up now." Everyone was momentarily frozen in place. I wasn't sure whether I should make that call or not. Seeing him take it so well, I let him off the hook. Sophia hurried over to check his injuries, her eyes full of concern. Dylan's face was full of panic. "Sophia, don't call the police." The company finally secured this big contract. If today's incident blows up and affects the cooperation between the two parties, the group's losses would be incalculable. "Sophia, you and Ethan are engaged after all. If this reaches the media, the Taylor family's reputation, this Dylan really lives up to being the male lead. He does have a bit of quick wit. You already came up with the wording in such a short time." As expected, Dylan's analysis moved Sophia to tears. Tears immediately welled up. "Dylan, you are truly so kind. You're already like this, and you're still thinking about the company, about my Taylor family." I couldn't be bothered to expose him on the spot. This Dylan is a venomous snake, just the sort to keep around to deal with the Taylors. I gave Dylan another vicious kick. She then strode away. Sophia was furious, stood up and shouted, "Ethan, what are you doing? If you dare walk out of this private room, don't come back. I tell you, if you don't kneel and apologize to me and Dylan, I will never forgive you." I turned my head slightly, looking at her mockingly. "Oh, really? We're completely finished, Sophia. Why don't you kneel and beg me now? Maybe I'll consider it." Sophia exploded on the spot. She clenched her teeth, gripping her fists so hard they ached. I couldn't be bothered with her impotent rage any longer and strode out of the private room. No one dared to step forward to stop him. The crowd instinctively took a few steps back. Their eyes showed a trace of fear. "Ethan, you bastard. You're just a dog of my Taylor family. Do you think you can get by without the platform of the Taylor family?" I didn't stop walking, too lazy even to look back. According to the plot in the book, now that Johnson Group still flourishes with Vice President Chloe Johnson in charge. I didn't return to Johnson Group immediately. Instead, I went to the police station to reissue my original ID card, and then to the bank to reissue my bank card. I stared at the countless zeros in the bank account, as if I'd only seen this in a western city before I transmigrated. I immediately flew to a South Pacific island for a vacation. Newly rich, of course I'd relax first. I lie on a beach chair, staring at the blue sea and sky, sipping a full-bodied red wine, watching the beach full of bikinis. Two other super young models were still rubbing my legs. This is the ultimate pleasure for the rich. But the good times didn't last. Only 3 days later, Chloe came over. Chloe's looks were still superior to Sophia's, especially those long, straight, beautiful legs, which left Sophia far behind. She looked at me, covered her mouth, and tears fell pattering. I touched the pendant at my chest and couldn't help but sigh. This pendant was given by Chloe. E is me, J is her. She was a needy student sponsored by the Johnson family. She lived in the Johnson household from a young age. After graduating from a prestigious overseas university, she interned at the Johnson Group. Chloe, through her own efforts, climbed from the grassroots all the way to the position of vice president. After I disappeared, for the sake of the group's stability, she suppressed the news completely. During these 3 years in the shadows, she never stopped searching for me. In the book, I die afterwards. Chloe went completely insane, utterly turning villainous. The Taylor family vanished from the face of the earth overnight. In the end, Chloe couldn't escape the law's punishment either. Her end was tragic and lamentable. I smiled at her cheerfully. Chloe, long time no see. Her emotions suddenly lost control, and she flung herself onto me. Her fists, carrying a floral scent, rained down on my chest like raindrops. "Ethan, you bastard! Well, do you know how I've spent the last 3 years? Do you know you've been absent for a full 3 years? I could barely keep the board under control. Do you know how worried I was about you? I was afraid you died. Yet every day, I had to force myself to act like nothing had happened. I thought I would never see you again. Sobi. She was tired from crying, leaning on me and sobbing. Her fragrant shoulders trembled uncontrollably. I held her tightly, an endless pity welling up in my heart. I'm sorry, I lost my memory for the past 3 years. I only remembered everything 3 days ago. She suddenly looked up. Her face was full of astonishment. I recounted to her, bit by bit, everything that had happened in those 3 years. The Taylor family? Chloe's eyes went cold. The Taylor Group that suddenly rose to prominence in Rivertown over the past 3 years. I nodded. They deliberately kept my accident and memory loss 3 years ago a secret, just to bind me to the Taylors and make me work like a beast of burden for them. A flash of icy, murderous intent crossed Chloe's eyes. They actually dare treat you like that? Don't rush to act. I have my own arrangements. I patted her hand to offer comfort. The Taylor family will surely pay for what they've done. The next day, Chloe and I flew back to Haven City together. I held a board meeting at the earliest opportunity. Those few shareholders who had been the most jubilant, having assumed I was dead, were stunned. They glanced at each other. Still forcing himself, he stood up and attacked me. He accused me of not showing up for 3 years, saying it was an extremely irresponsible act toward the group. Even more arrogantly, he demanded that I take responsibility and resign. These fake people in the female-oriented world still have to be subdued by physical means. I directly clamped down on the leader, Daniel White's throat. With one hand, I hoisted him up. I only let go when he was about to faint. He knelt on the ground, his face flushed bright red. He clasped his neck with both hands, coughing desperately, his eyes full of fear. He didn't dare utter another word. With a bang, I drove a dagger hard into the desk, squinted, and looked around. Who the hell still has objections? Step forward. The other shareholders were cowed by my ruthless move. One by one they met my gaze and involuntarily lowered their heads. Chloe saw these hotheads each become obedient and well-behaved. She couldn't help casting me an admiring look. Over the past 3 years, these people had made things difficult for her countless times. More than once after meetings, she secretly hid away to wipe her tears. Who would have thought that on the very first day of my return, I would press them down so hard they couldn't lift their heads? I immediately issued the first strategic order. Johnson Group will advance into Rivertown at once. Of course, it wasn't just to deal with the Taylor family. Rivertown is not far from Haven City, and it has only just begun to develop in the past few years. This is precisely a great opportunity to seize the market. Moreover, I am thoroughly familiar with Rivertown's major powers and its planning. That makes it all the more advantageous. 1 month later, Chloe and I were riding in the executive car on the way to Rivertown. Calls from Sophia kept coming in one after another. I declined them one by one. Then she sent a voice message. Ethan, you have 1 hour to get your ass in front of me. You've made your scene enough. What more do you want? You come back now and apologize to Dylan, and I can pretend nothing happened. Otherwise, don't expect me to forgive you. I cursed stupid X, then rolled down the car window and threw my phone out. My original number has already been recovered. The Ethan identity is no longer needed. Chloe held my arm and spoke slowly. Ethan, I've already had people look into the internal situation at Taylor Group. Dylan is just an idiot, a layman who doesn't understand anything. Since he became vice president, he's lost several major projects. In just over a month, Taylor Group's performance has already begun to drop sharply. Dylan dumped all the problems onto the people below him, raging at Taylor Group every day and firing several truly capable people. I think we don't even need to do anything. Taylor Group will self-destruct before long. I wasn't surprised that Taylor Group had become a complete mess. Sophia, with her love-struck brain, handed the group's decision-making over to a con artist. There's no way the group will get better. Chloe continued. Sophia only thought to contact you now. She must really be desperate. Her pair of star-like eyes stared at me without blinking. Ethan, you don't still have feelings for her, do you? I pinched her rosy cheek and gave a hard tug. What are you thinking? You stubborn brat. Ouch, that hurts. Chloe pouted and playfully swatted my hand away, but her face was brimming with a sweet smile. I'm just a little worried. After all, you two have been together for 3 years. I thought of the original's 3 years of bootlicking behavior. My face felt a little feverish. Nonsense. I must have been on my mind for those 3 years, okay? Don't ever bring it up again. Chloe covered her mouth and giggled. I decisively kissed her flawless, delicate face. Besides, my Chloe is prettier than her, and her figure is better. With you here, how could I possibly look at any other woman? Chloe's pretty face instantly flushed with shame. She nestled into my arms and didn't dare lift her head to look at me. After a long while, she finally spoke softly. Ethan, from now on, don't ever leave me again, okay? I touched her pretty face and found that she was crying again. I held her tightly and forcefully breathed out one word. Okay, just as we were checking into the Rivertown Empire Hotel, I unexpectedly ran into Sophia, who was entertaining business partners. She abruptly called out to me from behind, her voice restrained with anger. Ethan, stop right there. I let Chloe get into the elevator first. Only then did I turn back and look at her with a cold expression. Sophia stared at me intently, trembling with anger. She clearly just saw a woman acting intimately with me. Although she didn't see her face, that figure, more provocative than hers, made her unable to suppress the anger in her heart. Ethan, you bastard. You don't pick up your calls or reply to messages, and now you're going into a hotel with another woman? Are you fair to me? Tell me quickly, who exactly is that woman? Have you been spending these days with that vixen? I watched her go frantic and curled my lips slightly. Miss Taylor, have you forgotten that there's nothing between us anymore? I suddenly felt like I remembered something, then changed the subject. Even if there's still something between us, am I only allowed to let you have a white moonlight, but not allowed to have one myself? As expected, the heart is dirty. Whatever it looks, it seems dirty. The last sentence was the night her white moonlight returned to the country. Sophia threw a welcome party for Dylan. I went to pick her up, but unexpectedly ran into them hugging and cuddling at the bar entrance. I flew into a rage and stormed over to confront them. Sophia looked thoroughly annoyed. Ethan, there's nothing going on between Dylan and me. If I really had something with him, would I still be engaged to you? As expected, your heart is dirty. You see everything as dirty. Now I returned that last line to her unchanged. Sophia was momentarily stunned. She soon laughed again. Ethan, you really are something. You love me so much that you actually hired a woman to act. You just wanted to make me jealous, didn't you? You want me to look at you more, to care about you more? I'm telling you, I won't fall for your tricks. The games you play don't work on me. You haven't come back to the company these past few days just to see if the company can't do without you, right? To watch me make a fool of myself. Ethan, you're truly vicious. Yes, during the more than month you weren't at the company, we at Taylor Group did run into some trouble. But you still don't know, do you? Haven City's top company, Johnson Group, is entering the Rivertown market. If our Taylor Group secures Johnson Group's project, Taylor Group will surely soar to new heights. You should apologize to Dylan now and come back to be Dylan's assistant obediently. There's still time. Otherwise, Taylor Group will become an existence you can never reach. Even if you kneel and beg me then, I still won't give you a second glance. Just then, her phone rang abruptly. I could tell she had set that ringtone specifically for Dylan. After she answered, her expression changed drastically. What? Your kidney hurts. Wait for me. I'm coming right away. She finished the call and hurried off, as if she had completely forgotten I existed. I've already left, and this Dylan still hasn't given up? Still thinking about harvesting my kidney, scheming against me? His good days are almost over. After Sophia left, I gave a command to the assistant Jake Miller, standing not far away. Find a private detective and have him watch Sophia and Dylan's every move. Jake hurriedly agreed and quickly went to take care of it. Staying in a hotel is no match for the comfort of a big villa. The next day, I had Jake arrange the purchase of a top-tier estate. Jake told me that Sophia has been going to the Empire Hotel these past few days to look into my whereabouts. But the hotel itself is a property under Johnson Group. There's no way they could have revealed any information to her. 1 week later, Johnson Group's $10 billion project was publicly tendered at the Empire Hotel. Chloe and the group executives went to the venue early to set up. I arrived afterward with Jake and the bodyguards. Unexpectedly, we ran into Taylor's party again at the hotel entrance. Sophia was dressed very nicely, her makeup exquisite. Dylan and Leo were following her. Both were dressed in custom-made outfits, looking arrogantly superior. Seeing me, Leo was momentarily stunned, then broke into a mocking smile. "Ethan, what are you doing here?" Could it be that he can't make it in his field and came to apply as a hotel security guard? Dylan snorted. "Maybe he's actually here to bid on Johnson Group's $10 billion project?" Leo glanced at the display behind me and said mockingly, "Just him? Does he really think hiring a few actors makes him a business tycoon? He's nothing but trash handouts from our Taylor family. How dare he bid for a Johnson Group project?" I loosened the tension in my muscles, and the bones in my body immediately went crack, crack. I looked at those two idiots with a half smile, half sneer. "Oh dear, my hands are itchy again. I really want to smack two idiots for fun." Leo and Dylan's expressions changed instantly. They simultaneously and hurriedly took 2 steps back. The memory of being brutally beaten by me at the celebration banquet last time was still fresh in their minds. Fear crept onto both their faces. Don't you dare," Leo shouted, his bravado thinly veiling his fear. "This is Johnson Group's turf." I mocked them and stepped 2 paces closer. "So," Dylan kept retreating, his tone beginning to warp. "Ethan, I advise you better behave. Today we're here to bid. If you dare cause trouble, the Johnson Group will never let you off." I feigned a strike. The 2 were terrified and hurriedly fled into the hotel, ran far ahead, then looked back at me, afraid I would go madly after him. Other senior executives of Taylor Group, seeing this, also kept their distance. Sophia, watching this scene, had a somewhat complicated expression. She hurried to catch up with my steps. "Ethan, stop making a scene. You've been jealous for so long. There has to be a limit. I'll give you one last chance. Dylan's kidney has failed. If you agree to give Dylan a kidney, I'll agree to marry you." I slapped her hard across the face. "Sophia, do you take me for an idiot? You want me to donate a kidney to Dylan and expect me to be grateful? Marry you, someone as trashy as you? Do you really think I'd be interested? Ugh, what a piece of garbage." After speaking, I stopped looking at her and strode inside. Sophia covered her face, breaking down and cursing behind me. "Ethan, you bastard. At a time like this, you're still playing hard to get. I'm telling you, you're finished. When I land the $10 billion Johnson Group project, I want you to kneel before me and beg." The bidding conference was packed. All of Rivertown's business elite were on tenterhooks. After all, the top powerhouse in Haven City, Johnson Group, was an unattainable presence to them. All along, it had been Vice President Chloe who stood at the forefront. This time, it was said that the mysterious largest shareholder of Johnson Group President Ethan, would make a public appearance. It caused quite a stir. The senior executives of Taylor Group sat in the audience, each looking full of confidence. Their Taylor Group has risen very quickly in recent years. Many of their businesses overlap heavily with Johnson Group. It can be said that across all of Rivertown, Taylor Group has the highest chance of winning the bid. Quite a few people present cast envious looks at Taylor Group. I stepped onto the stage slowly, accompanied by the senior executives of Johnson Group. Chloe, Vice President of Johnson Group, retreated half a step like a demure young wife and stood at my side. Although there weren't many people making an appearance, the momentum was comparable to tens of thousands of troops. Astonishing. The whole venue was stunned, then erupted into a clamor. Many present recognized him. I was the former prospective son-in-law of the Taylor Group. How could that be possible? How could he possibly be the legendary CEO Ethan of the Johnson Group? The Taylor Group crowd was completely dumbfounded. Sophia screamed and stood up. "Impossible! How could you be Ethan? You're just my sycophant. How could you possibly be the president of Johnson Group?" At those words, all the senior executives of Johnson Group changed their expressions. Chloe's expression immediately turned cold. She snatched the microphone and barked sharply. Miss Taylor, if you dare speak disrespectfully to the president of Johnson Group again, I will have security throw every one of your Taylor Group people out at once." The other executives glared at the Taylor Group delegation. The warning was unmistakable. Sophia was intimidated by Chloe's aura and couldn't speak for a moment. Her face alternated between pale and flushed. She probably realized it too. She just never expected that before I lost my memory, I was a business magnate, the president of Johnson Group. Ethan, Dylan, and Leo were even more stunned. The two of them slumped into their seats, their minds completely blank. The others at Taylor Group also looked at each other, their faces turning ugly. The bidding result was no surprise. It wasn't Taylor Group. Sophia instantly exploded. She angrily stood up, pointed at me, and demanded loudly, "Ethan, this isn't fair. You're taking personal revenge. Fine, even if it's my fault, I shouldn't have treated you that way. But are you really going to stand by and watch Taylor Group collapse?" I sneered at the group from Taylor Group. My voice, utterly cold, echoed throughout the hall. "Yeah, so what if I'm settling a personal score? I want to watch your Taylor family be reduced back to nothing. So what about it?" As soon as those words came out, the whole place erupted into another uproar. Arrogant, truly arrogant. But I, Ethan, have the right to be arrogant. At this moment, everyone looked at the Taylor Group and their party with expressions full of schadenfreude. Taylor Group dared to be angry, but not speak. Seeing that they still weren't convinced, I threw Taylor Group's bid like garbage and slammed it down. "Sophia, is this the bid proposal your Taylor Group submitted?" All the data was filled in from online searches, and the content is utterly unoriginal. This piece of junk still thinks it'll win the bid? Dream on. What the hell is that? Sophia picked up the proposal from the ground and took a look. The proposals in my previous company were always made by me. Sophia was only half competent. She hadn't noticed anything wrong with the bid document before. Only after I pointed it out did she see the signs. Her expression grew progressively uglier, and the fingers clutching the bid document had gone white from squeezing so hard. She glared at Dylan, her teeth clenched. "Dylan, is this the bid you prepared? Is this what you called foolproof?" Dylan, stared at by everyone in the room, felt his face flush bright red. He stammered, unable to say a word. I couldn't be bothered watching their dog-eat-dog fight, so I had security throw them out immediately. Sophia's cries and pleas faded into the distance. "Ethan, I know I was wrong. You can't treat me like this." The following period of time, Taylor Group's performance plunged off a cliff. The stock hit consecutive limit downs. Taylor Group faces delisting risk. This crisis at Taylor Group is even more severe than the one 3 years ago. Those who had been scrambling to flatter my Johnson Group won by one piled on Taylor Group. Without holding back, Sophia was frantic, completely at a loss how to respond. Taylor family's patriarch Arthur was so furious he was hospitalized. Sophia blocked me everywhere. She cornered me at the Rivertown branch for more than half a month, and when she learned I had returned to Haven City, she then stood outside the Johnson Group headquarters building for over a week. That day I had just left the Johnson Group building. Sophia dropped to her knees with a thud. Ethan, I was wrong. Please save me. Save the Taylor family. Our Taylor Group is collapsing. I really can't do anything. It's all my fault. As long as you're willing to help me, I'll do anything you ask. Ethan, I'm still clean. I didn't let Dylan touch me. Please, just give me one more chance. I looked down at her coldly and indifferently. At this moment, Sophia's hair was messy, her eyes sunken, and she looked haggard. No trace of his original arrogance remained. "Sophia, do you still have a nerve to beg me for help? I worked my tail off for 3 years doing the Taylor family's bidding. What did I get in return? To become your white moonlight's assistant. Tell me, what were you thinking? Your Taylor family is going to be finished. Beg your white moonlight to go. Why beg me?" Sophia shook her head desperately, tears streaming down her face. "I was wrong, Ethan. I'm sorry. Dylan is a bastard. He absconded with all of Taylor Group's working capital." Her eyes were full of remorse. She was sobbing uncontrollably. But I asked her a seemingly random question. Sophia, do you still remember Marcus Reed, the one you and Dylan framed and sent to prison back then? In the book, Sophia, Dylan, and Marcus are classmates. Sophia is a somewhat wealthy second-generation heir, essentially a young miss. Dylan is a notorious school bully, and Marcus is just an impoverished student who gets bullied by them at will. Where there is oppression, there is resistance. When Marcus was forced to kneel and receive slaps again, he fought back and injured Dylan. The result was that the breakfast stall run by the mother who raised him was smashed by a gang of thugs. Every time he set up a stall, it got smashed. Marcus was further framed by Dylan and Sophia for stealing, landing him in jail. During that time, Marcus's mother begged people everywhere for help. No one was willing to help her. Marcus's mother was distracted all day long, but she still insisted on setting up her stall to raise money for the appeal and the lawsuit. Where a breakfast stall was smashed again, she was utterly despondent. Marcus's mother ran straight into the road and was struck by an oncoming truck, killed instantly. Dylan's parents, George Parker and Linda Parker, knew their son had gotten into serious trouble. Only then did they send Dylan out of the country. When Sophia heard Marcus's name, her cries stopped abruptly. Her face went instantly deathly pale, her gaze flickering uncertainly. What do you know, Marcus? I didn't answer her. Instead, I tossed a stack of photos into Sophia's face. Sophia, take a good look. Dylan has been abroad. He disappeared 6 months ago. These photos were taken by foreign police. It's been confirmed that Dylan was killed 6 months ago. Sophia's head exploded with shock. No, impossible. Sophia screamed, her eyes full of terror. If Dylan is dead, then who has the Dylan that's been with me for the past 6 months been? I sneered. Who is it? Didn't you already have the answer? Do you know what I said at the celebratory banquet that made Dylan hurry and insist we shouldn't call the police? I only said 2 words. Marcus. Sophia seemed to have been drained of every last bit of strength. She collapsed to the ground, her eyes full of shock and deep fear. So in these past 6 months, her voice couldn't stop trembling. She could barely get the words out. I've been with a murderer all this time. I brought the Taylor family to the brink of bankruptcy for this murderer. I sneered and continued. Not only that, foreign police also found that the one who killed Dylan was a professional hitman. You mean Marcus embezzled all of Taylor Group's liquid funds? With such a large sum, hiring professional killers would be enough to take many lives. Do you think Marcus would spare the Parker family or your Taylor family? Sophia's pupils contracted sharply. She stood completely frozen in place, her eyes full of terror. No, impossible. I crouched down and looked at her coldly. Sophia, you were also an accomplice in framing Marcus and causing his mother's death. Do you think Marcus will let you go? At this, Sophia was completely despairing. After a long while, she seemed to find her voice again. What should I do? What am I supposed to do? She hurriedly grabbed the hem of my pants. Ethan, please help me. Since you know so much, you can surely find out where Marcus is, right? I was wrong, Ethan. I really was wrong. Please save me. I slowly stood up and straightened my clothes. Sophia, you deserve all of this. You brought it on yourself. Now you admit your mistake. Too late. Just then my phone abruptly rang. When I answered, Jake's anxious voice came through. Mr. Johnson, we just received news that Dylan's parents were involved in a car accident overseas and both died. I had it on speaker, and Sophia heard every single word Jake said clearly. Her whole body began to tremble violently, her face deathly pale. It seems. I hung up the call, staring at her with a half smile. The revenge has already begun. I didn't look at her again. Escorted by the bodyguards, I strode away. Ethan, Sophia's heart-wrenching screams came from behind. Jake turned around and reported Sophia's condition to me. Sophia called the police immediately, but it was still one step too late. Taylor patriarch Arthur had his oxygen tube pulled out in the hospital and died there. And Leo died in a woman's bed. Only Sophia was placed under police protection. But after she learned that both her father and brother were dead, she went mad. He ultimately had to be sent to a psychiatric hospital. Marcus ultimately couldn't escape the police's pursuit. He was caught on the spot while attempting to smuggle himself out of the country. When I heard the news, I was on vacation at the seaside holding Chloe. Chloe looked into my eyes, but kept staring at the beach full of bikinis without stopping. She gave a vicious pinch at my waist. "Don't stare. Look at me. They're not prettier than me." I looked down at the beauty in my arms and gave her pert buttocks a hard smack. "You're dressed so conservatively. How am I supposed to look?" Her pretty face flushed, and she spoke weakly. I bought a new. That underwear, it has very little fabric. I'll wear it for you at night, only for you to see." Holy shit, that girl finally came to her senses. I couldn't resist that kind of temptation. I cupped her little head and kissed her